In this video, we explore Anne Boleyn's ancestry, tracing her roots to the powerful Plantain families involved in the Wars of the Roses, shaping her royal destiny. Before you forget, subscribe and like, and you will help us grow our channel.
Anne Boleyn, the famed second wife of King Henry VIII, hailed from a family of noble lineage, though not royalty in the strictest sense. Her family boasted deep connections to England's aristocracy, holding considerable influence within the court. On her mother's side, Anne's ancestry was particularly distinguished. Lady Elizabeth Howard, Anne's mother, was the daughter of Thomas Howard, 2nd Duke of Norfolk, a figure wielding immense power with strong ties to the English monarchy. Through her Howard heritage, Anne was linked to several prominent noble houses, yet she did not have a direct royal lineage. Anne's father, Sir Thomas Boleyn, came from a background rooted in wealth, influence, and ambition. The Boleyn family's prominence was the product of generations of strategic marriages and unswerving service to the crown. Thomas Boleyn himself, an adept courtier, held titles like the Earl of Wiltshire and Ormond, which elevated his social status significantly, but did not bestow the status of royal blood. Despite Anne's lack of direct royal descent, her marriage to Henry VIII altered the family's standing forever. Their union produced Elizabeth I, a daughter destined to rule as one of England's most celebrated monarchs, thus cementing a royal legacy through Anne herself, one that would reverberate across history.
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
The Howard family, from which Lady Elizabeth Howard descended, was one of the most venerable noble families in England. Thomas Howard, 2nd Duke of Norfolk, Elizabeth's father, was a powerful figure at court, particularly during the reigns of Henry VII and Henry VIII. This ancient lineage, marked by loyalty, influence, and a carefully preserved heritage, connected them to some of the most esteemed families in England. Several key aspects of Lady Elizabeth Howard's lineage illuminate this influence. The Mowbray connection. The Howards secured their noble standing primarily through their connection to the Mowbray family. Elizabeth's great-grandfather, John Howard, was granted the title of 1st Duke of Norfolk by King Richard III in 1483. John Howard's mother, Margaret Mowbray, linked the family to the influential Mowbrays, a lineage entwined with English nobility and even Plantagenet claims to the throne, descendant from Edward I. Through the Mowbray line, Lady Elizabeth Howard's ancestry traced back to King Edward I of England, granting her family a distant but notable connection to royal blood, enhancing their stature and firmly positioning them as one of England's few noble families with such prestigious ties. Anne Boleyn's prominent ancestors included Elizabeth Howard's ancestors like earls and dukes who served the crown faithfully, playing critical roles during the Wars of the Roses, the dynastic conflicts that rocked England throughout the 15th century. They had great influence at court, especially Thomas Howard, 2nd Duke of Norfolk, Lady Elizabeth's father, wielded significant influence within the Tudor court, especially during the early Tudor period. His power and authority provided a valuable boost to the Boleyns, aligning them with the weight and influence of the Howards. While Lady Elizabeth Howard's lineage did not place her directly within royal bloodlines, her family's deep ties to the English monarchy and their elevated status as one of England's premier aristocratic families contributed enormously to Anne Boleyn's rise in the Tudor court. These connections provided Anne with the social standing and support necessary for her eventual elevation to queen.
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
Anne Boleyn's older sister, Mary Boleyn, also held a place at Henry VIII's court. Mary is best remembered for her relationships with influential men of the time, including a reputed affair with King Henry VIII himself. Historians suggest that Mary was Henry's mistress prior to Anne's ascendance, though details of this relationship remain somewhat shadowed. After Anne's execution, Mary lived a quieter life, marrying William Stafford, a commoner. This union created a stir among the aristocracy, as it was considered beneath her station. Mary had 2 children, Catherine and Henry, whose paternity has long been debated, with some speculation pointing to Henry VIII himself, though conclusive evidence is lacking. Mary, unlike her sister, passed away in relative obscurity in 1543, her life contrasting starkly with Anne's dramatic, tragic rise and fall. The Wars of the Roses was a turbulent and bloody struggle for the English throne, fought between 1455 and 1487. 2 powerful factions, the House of Lancaster and the House of York, battled fiercely, each claiming the crown through their shared Plantagenet ancestry. The war's name, Wars of the Roses, stems from the emblems of the 2 houses. Lancaster bore the red rose while York bore the white, Yet this was no mere dispute of symbols, it was a brutal conflict marked by battles, betrayals, and shifting alliances. The background and cause of the war did not arise out of a single grievance but rather from a volatile mix of deep-seated issues such as fragile leadership, economic strains, and a crisis of succession. Henry VI, a Lancastrian king, found himself particularly unfit to rule. His mental health was unstable as he could neither secure the crown nor command loyalty. The weakness of Henry's reign opened the door for Richard, Duke of York, to make his own move. Richard had a powerful claim that was traced back to King Edward III. He saw Henry's instability as an opportunity to challenge the Lancastrian line. In this chaotic landscape, two primary players emerged, each drawing support from influential allies and families. The House of Lancaster, with loyalty to Henry VI, gathered supporters, including the powerful Beaufort family, whose wealth and influence were crucial to their cause. The House of York, initially led by Richard, Duke of York, and later by his sons, Edward IV and Richard III, attracted those who resented Henry VI's weak rule and the Lancastrian hold on the court.
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
There were several major battles and turning points of the war. The Wars of the Roses included several decisive battles, each shifting control between the warring houses. The First Battle of St. Albans in 1455 marked the beginning of open warfare. The Yorkists struck a swift and successful blow against the Lancastrians, seizing a moment of dominance. The Battle of Towton in 1461, known as one of the bloodiest battles in English history, ended in a definitive Yorkist victory. Edward IV took the throne, solidifying Yorkist rule for a time. The Battle of Barnet and the Battle of Tewkesbury in 1471 saw Edward IV regain the throne after a brief Lancastrian resurgence. These battles all but crushed Lancastrian power, ushering in a fragile period of stability under the Yorkist banner. The final chapter, Rise of the Tudors. As the wars drew to a close, one last fateful battle changed England forever. Richard III, the final Yorkist king, came to power under dubious circumstances, following the sudden death of his brother Edward IV, but his rule was challenged by Henry Tudor, a Lancastrian with a claim of his own. In 1485, at the Battle of Bosworth Field, Henry Tudor defeated Richard III, ending Yorkist rule. Henry took the crown as Henry VII, marking the dawn of the Tudor dynasty.
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
Legacy and impact. The Wars of the Roses transformed England's political landscape. Henry VII's marriage to Elizabeth of York, a union of the red and white roses, symbolically healed the rift between the warring houses. Under the new Tudor dynasty, stability returned, paving the way for a powerful monarchy that would produce formidable rulers, such as Henry VIII and Elizabeth I. These conflicts, born out of ambition and bloodline, left a legacy that shaped the future of the English crown and its place in history.
Before you forget, subscribe and like, and you will help us grow our channel. We thank you for watching and appreciate your support. Click on additional videos, and that will help our YouTube algorithm and help us grow.